Aloha, and welcome to Bible Prophecy Fulfilled.
Woman on the radio talks about revolution when it's already passed her by. Bob Dylan didn't have this to sing about, you know it feels good to be alive.
Join us for the next hour as we discuss Bible prophecy, its fulfillment and application in today's world, beyond the speculation and sensationalism. If you would like to join in the conversation, call 296-5467. That's 296-5467. Here's your host, Garrett Paul Parrish.
Watching the world wake up from history.
Hello, and thank you for listening. Give us that call if you do want to discuss Bible prophecy, 808-296-5467. And my name's Garrett Paul Parrish, and I'm joined by Mike Day, a pastor from Anthem, Arizona. Good to have you, Mike.
Good to be on, Gary.
And we have been going through the book of Revelation, and we're going to continue to do that and let you know you can join our conversation. If you'd like to email a question or comment, go to BibleProphecyFulfilled.org, BibleProphecyFulfilled.org. And otherwise, give us that call, 808-296-5467. And want to announce here in Hawaii on Maui, we're going to be meeting at Cam 3 tomorrow, 1 o'clock. We're calling it Jesus Palooza, a party for Jesus. So we're just basically celebrating and kind of just a get-together. Everybody brings something, and we just kind of fellowship, basically. So Cam 3 tomorrow, and give us a call or email if you want more details. It's on the grass side of Cam 3. And in Tucson, you can meet with the church in Tucson, Church of Tucson, meeting at 181 West Broadway. That's at the Hotel Arizona. Tomorrow morning, Sunday at 10, the Church of Tucson Terry Cation is there, and they're going to start, I don't know if they're starting yet, but a Sunday night meeting as well, where you'll be able to hear some teaching from James Ellis also. And that's 181 West Broadway, Hotel Arizona, the Manzanita Room in Tucson, tomorrow 10 a.m. So let you know that, and we're going to, I think, jump right into the book of Revelation. I've been getting tempted to jump into chapter 21 and answer some questions we had about no more death. If that question there, it says no more death, crying, is burning in your heart and mind, and how can these things be? Give us that call. Otherwise, I'm going to resist that temptation, because we could pretty much spend a whole show on that. But it's going to be hard, but I'm going to try not to jump into that. But little heads up, you might want to look at where the passage is quoted from, the Old Testament, where Isaiah chapter 65, 66 talks about the new heavens and new earth, and a child will die at 100, right? So people are dying. It's not talking about no more physical death. That's just a little teaser, appetizer. So I'd love to jump into that passage. But if you want to do that, we'll go ahead and do that. But give us that call. Otherwise, we're going right into the book of Revelation, chapter 1, and try not to get ahead of ourselves here. So anything you want to throw in here, Mike, before we get started?
Well, you're tempting me here. I'm being tempted a little bit, but no, we'll go through verse by verse through the Word.
Yeah.
It is tempting to jump out to 20 or 21 and field some questions out there, but yeah, we got to stick and work our way through.
Yeah, you got the new heavens and new earth there, so that's a whole topic in itself. And man, I'm getting tempted. You have the new heavens, new earth with Abraham. His descendants would be as many as the stars in the heavens and as he stands on the feet of the earth. And you have just covenantal language. Look up Isaiah 51:16, relating to God's people on earth in covenant with God in heaven. And Jesus, just throwing out another teaser, Jesus says in Matthew 5:17-18 that old heavens and earth would pass away at what point in time? when he fulfills it. That is the old covenant heavens and earth. 2 Peter is not talking about thermonuclear war. The elements melting are the stoikalon element. That is the rudiments, principles, philosophies used 5 times in the New Testament, never referring to the physical element. That's enough teaser. Otherwise, I'm going to go in that direction.
All right, Revelation chapter 1, verse 16. I'm going to start reading here.
Okay.
And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth proceeded a sharp 2-edged sword. And his face shone as the sun shines in its power. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead. And he placed his right hand on me, saying, Do not fear, I am the first and the last, and the living one. And I became dead, and behold, I am living forever and ever, and I have the keys of death and of Hades. Write therefore the things which you have seen, and the things which are, and the things which are about to take place after these things. The mystery of the 7 stars which you saw upon my right hand, and the 7 golden lampstands. The 7 stars are the messengers of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches.
And so we want to back out of the trees here, and again ask ourselves, when was this book written? Where are the events to take place? It's on the land. Never are these judgments and descriptions, telling us of the globe, or cosmos is the Greek word for that. It's on the land, and it's not the globe. That's where and when, at hand. These things are to be taken place shortly, quickly. They are at hand. All the things, chapter 22, verse 10, of this book are at hand. The things of the prophecy of this book, Revelation 22:10, for the time is at hand for those things to be fulfilled. So not partially fulfilled. Does it say that time is partially at hand? No, it doesn't. So that's going to help us out too. So these events are written to 7 churches, literally going through literal things, challenges, struggles, written to them to encourage them in a vision, a prophetic word, really, given to John. And I want to review real quick, Mike, before we jump into this next section. Back in chapter 1 that we're in, but verse 10 talks about John was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. So, again, we have to be spiritual-minded and, interpret the Bible spiritually. Heresy, right? Well, no. The words that Jesus speaks are spirit, John 6:63, and life. So, again, the natural man understands not the things of the Spirit, but he that is spiritual discerns and judges all things, 1 Corinthians 2. A mindset on the Spirit is life. Mindset on the flesh is death. So, there is a way to minister the Word and bring it across through a ministry of death if we're not in the Spirit and Spirit-minded in handling the Scriptures. So that's a little exhortation in verse 10. And also it says, just wanted to touch on this, I heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet. Now we're told every time there's a trumpet, there has to be some kind of rapture. Verse 10, there's no rapture there, right? Well, why would there be a rapture in chapter 4? Again, we're backing out of the trees and looking at this big picture. Why would there be a rapture when John, literally, no one else, face value, says what it means what it says, is lifted up in the Spirit? Why would anybody read into this passage and conclude that this is talking about a church being lifted up, raptured into heaven, right? Just because there's a trumpet blowing, every time there's a trumpet, doesn't mean there's a rapture, and it's clearly spelled out, the context, the literal reading. Chapter 4, John is lifted up. No one else. In a vision. John is seeing a vision in the Spirit. John is told to come up here, right? No one else. We don't want to read that into it. So just had to touch on that for review back in verse 10. But if you want to review anything more, Mike, or just jump into 16, we can do that.
We can jump into 16. I had 2 quick thoughts. I know that the Apostle Paul was stoned and he was left as dead, and he had visions, of the heavens. So, we know that his body was physically on the earth, and he was having heavenly visions. That'd be another example of that happening, in Scripture. And I forget the exact verse, but it's in the book of John off the top of my head, where Jesus says that really speaks against the raptures, is that he prays for all believers that we would not be taken out of this world.
Yeah, John 17.
John 17, yeah.
So that affects everything that's being said on the airwaves today. And John 14, if I come, I'll come again. And does the context in John, let's say 17, again, get some context, 13 through 17, lend itself to say anything about someone being physically transported? Or is it talking about the work of the Spirit in the believers? Well, the whole context of John 13 through 17 is the ministry of the Spirit. Just a little teaser there as well. We can jump into plenty more details, but overview, we want to see that, we are not about ready to do a disappearing act. And what we think about the future affects what we do and how we do it now. So that's very important to keep in mind as we have a sound mind approaching the Scriptures, not spirit of fear or, doctrine that is fear-mongering or, have sound doctrine, right? And so we want to continue here in Revelation 16. And what you said, John, was, I think, John 17, verse 15, talks about Jesus literally says, I pray that you would not take them out of the world. I think God's going to answer that prayer. So, no rapture there in that context of John 13 through 17. Anyway, no rapture every time there's a trumpet in the book of Revelation. That's verse 10 in chapter 4. John is lifted up. So, have to clear that up a little bit. If you want to give us a call, join our conversation, 808-296-5467. We are live. So give us a call live here in Hawaii and Tucson and Sierra Vista. So give us a call, 808-296-5467. And verse 16, Mike, you want to touch on that?
Sure. Well, we have the 7 stars, and we're told about them being the 7 churches, and that was also used, so it's obviously a number of completion, but also in the first century, it was very common for the Caesars to have in their coins Caesar holding 7 stars. It was a symbol of his dominion, of his authority, that he ruled the oikumene, the inhabited earth, the civilized world as it was known back then, or the whole world as it's often poorly translated in the Bible. But they're talking about the Roman world, and that was something that would be on Caesar's coin. He'd be holding the 7 stars in his right hand, and it would show dominion or authority. So here, and that's a counterfeit, obviously, and here we have Jesus Christ, who's holding the